Hello, you beautiful souls. This is Lane Smith Brown, and I am back with episode number 37 of the Unleash Your Life podcast. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for sharing the episodes that are meaningful to you. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate that. Today, I'm going to take another page out of my own life in recent days and ask you the question I've been asking myself. And that is, how do you get good things when you feel you don't deserve good things? It's a good question, but the premise of that question is a bit misguided, and that's what we're going to dive into today. This is the Unleash Your Life podcast, where you're going to learn to rewild yourself. I'm your host, Lane Smith Brown, and I'm a best-selling author and rewilding guide. And over the last 20 years, I've been guiding women back to their truest selves. You see, you were born wild with all the wisdom you will ever need to navigate your life in a beautiful and powerful way. Then, just like everyone else on the planet, you got tamed as you fell under the power and influence of others who were also tamed. All that taming you got as a kid has you convinced you are less powerful than you really are. I call all of that unconscious programming power leaks. And on this show, you're going to discover yours, and then you're going to choose to plug them so you can get back to the wild, wise, and powerful being that you are. So grab a coffee, glass of wine, or a favorite friend, or all three, and let's talk about what living your wild self can mean for you. Welcome back to the show. I realize it's been quite a while since I recorded one of these podcasts, and I find it the oddest thing that I don't take the time to do this every week, because it truly is a place that I enjoy being. But I'll tell you, the last half year, I have been on one learning curve after another. I just get through one thing where I feel I took a topic to another level, and I'm feeling really good about myself, and I'm feeling good about my journey, and I'm making a bit of headway, and then boom, another old addiction comes to the surface. You know, if you've been listening to the show or you've been doing the work with other teachers, that the journey we are all going on together as we let go of all the lies we've accumulated in our monkey mind, that it's just not a linear path, is it? It's more like this corkscrew that is embedded inside our subconscious mind, and it touches on a whole bunch of different things at the same time. Now, I'm going to have to check this for sure, but I'm pretty sure I did an episode on a discovery I made about myself where I realized that I had a recurring emotion around financial wellness that smacked of a need to be disappointed. Before I do a bit of a refresher on that discovery, I want to address this idea of being addicted to emotions. Let me give you my interpretation of how this plays out. We come into the world all fresh and new and wonderful. We come with a plan and a purpose. And then a whole bunch of stuff happens to us that takes us off that mission. We become so influenced by all of those outside influences that we simply forget that original intention. That's okay, because we all possess all the tools and abilities to remember what that mission was and is. And we can get back to it by learning to let go of all the unhelpful, unwanted influences we've taken in. In short, all of the information we took in that doesn't paint us as perfectly whole and capable of creating anything we desire is a lie. And we form addictions to these lies because our subconscious mind has become convinced that we enjoy the feelings that come with believing those lies. Are you with me? We form addictions or attractions to familiar emotions. We can change what we are addicted to or attracted to, but the point of awakening is that we are awakening to the subconscious programming. We are awakening to all those places where we are still living from the lies. I call all those disconnections power leaks. Power leaks are anything that has you living less than the powerful, perfect being that you are. And I have resources available for you if you want to explore letting yours go. Just check out the show notes for those links. Now that was, sort of just all to help you kind of catch up on the origin of some of this stuff. And now I want to get back to that seed of my addiction to disappointment, of needing to create situations that caused disappointment for me. All right? So for me, it originated in my early childhood and involved my father making a lot of promises that he didn't follow through on. I've made peace with my father over the years. It took a lot of work and a lot of forgiveness to do so. But I have released him from so many different things because he was just a disconnected human trying to get through his life. And for whatever reason, our paths crossed. I choose not to make any judgments on that because I know that whatever I experienced early on in my life was something I chose to go through. Now, I've said in other shows that you don't have to have the same life philosophy as me to get a whole bunch of stuff out of these podcasts, because our universal or our experiences are universal and our lessons are universal. So we can learn from each other without having to agree on everything, which I think is pretty freaking awesome. Excuse me. Now, a while back, I was up-leveling in a couple of different areas of my life, which required of me to become a different version of myself, a new and improved version. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this concept, there are a lot of people who believe that if their circumstances in their life were to change and things were to become easier on some level, then they would inadvertently become happier as a result. So let's say you have a really crappy car and it affects how you feel about yourself. Perhaps you believe it affects how other people see you. Maybe you think that you'll never be able to afford a better car, so you're down on yourself about that. That feeling now pushes you towards hating your job, or you begin to believe that the world is against you. It's one of those things that just kind of spirals. Can you feel that? So the math that you do in your head is, if I could afford a new car, I would be happy. Most people think that the thing that is missing from their life is the reason their life isn't as good as they want it to be. Have you ever had a thought like that? If only this would happen, I would finally be happy, content, or at ease. Whatever it is you long to feel. There's a famous quote that says, wherever you go, there you are. Now that might seem a little bit odd the first time you hear it, but what it is saying is that if you're a miserable person without a car, you're going to be a miserable person with a car. If you're going to be a miserable person before you find love, you're going to be a miserable person when you do find love. If you're a miserable person in your job and you think that getting a better job is going to be the solution, you know who you're taking to that job, right? A miserable person who is eventually going to be miserable in that job. If those examples are ringing true to you, it means that you're walking in the world from a have, do, be philosophy. You think that if you have something, it will create an opportunity for you to do a different thing and therefore be a different type of person. The car, the better relationship, the new job won't make you a happier person. It won't change your character, your integrity, your way of walking in the world. It's just a temporary fix, a band-aid of sorts. Most of the world goes from one temporary fix to another until they just simply come to the end of their life. You need to become who it is that has those things. You need to be happy, be fulfilled, be abundant. You need to embody those characteristics and that vision in order for you to bring the stuff into your life that you're meant to bring into your life. All right, so that might have felt like a bit of a rabbit trail, but it will all tie together before we're done. So there was some stuff that was happening in my life that kept moving me farther and farther away from the things I wanted to create in my life. It was specifically about a financial goal. I would feel things lining up. I felt like it was so close, and then it would either move or disappear. And it was exasperating. I did a bunch of writing at the time, and all of a sudden I realized that I still had an underlying emotion playing in my subconscious mind that needed to keep me in the feeling of disappointment. So the seeds that got planted from my relationship with my father, where he didn't follow through and keep his word, my subconscious mind attached that to a whole bunch of different things, one of which was my financial security or my financial goals, my desires to get to a different level when it came to my financial world. When that bit of information came to the surface for me, it was such a significant part of the puzzle. It started shifting things quite dramatically, and my financial life changed. It's the way of these things sometimes. We can be caught in loops of thought that we are unaware of. And as soon as some light gets on that emotion and we can begin to see it plainly, we can often let it go very quickly. I know that from my own experience, because there are places where I've had that shocking epiphany and the behavior has completely disappeared in seconds as a result. It just went in, and it went in deep. But on this particular emotion, this feeling of needing to be disappointed, I nipped that out, but somehow it did a little sidestep. And I only discovered this in the last couple of weeks. Now, I know we are living in a world that loves a 1, 2, 3 type of process, a quick fix, 10 easy steps, do this for 3 weeks and your life will change forever. But it's just not the way things go. I wish I could offer that for you. But as we awaken to our conditioning, it's messy. It's just not the way it works. It's not simple and clear. It's just, it's like you pull a thread and it starts to connect to a whole bunch of other things that it's tied to. It's all good. It's all leading you someplace. So what I'm going to do, instead of trying to make this super simple, I'm going to try to remind you here that you are an electromagnetic field of energy. Okay, we're going to take this big picture now. That energy has always been and will always be. And when you're done with this lifetime, you are going to go back to that source, the source of that energy. And you may or may not choose to come back here. But everything that you experience and learn and contribute while you are in this physical form positively impacts the energy of the universe, and everyone benefits from it going forward. This idea is from the ancient wisdom teachings predating organized religion. This is old stuff. We get to benefit from doing this work, but the bigger picture is that as we change the energy around us as a result of doing this work, which means others get to tap into the energy and benefit from all of that clarity as well. We are all contributing to an energetic legacy of sorts. And if you have any desire to contribute to the betterment of this world and the betterment of just life in general, maybe that's a little something you can hold on to. When it feels like you keep learning the same thing over and over and over again. It's not that you're starting from square one. You're just learning something at a new level. So take some comfort in that, okay? All right. I mentioned that my underlying subconscious programming that needed to be disappointed put me in an energy where no matter how much I wanted something, the underlying energetic match was to an outcome that needed to create in me the feeling of disappointment. My subconscious expectation of needing to be disappointed when I wanted something changed for me in that instant. When I saw it, I got it. All right? I could see it plainly, so I could pay attention to it when it came up for me. But here's the sidestep that my subconscious mind did with the emotion or the expectation of disappointment. It slipped over into the emotion of feeling undeserving. Now think about it. My father would make promises to me and not keep his promises. Is it any wonder that that caused disappointment for this little girl? No, that's a perfectly legitimate conclusion to come to. But now on a deeper level, why was my father not interested in keeping his word to me? Well, it must have been because I wasn't worth him keeping his word. Another way of saying it is I didn't deserve him keeping his word. It or I wasn't worth it to him. There was no emotional consequence for him when he didn't keep his word because I didn't deserve what it is he promised to give me. As you listen to that twisted bit of information, can you see for yourself where a common and familiar feeling from your kidhood set you up to expect the same types of feelings going forward in your life? So if you had feelings of early childhood abandonment, it has likely created a theme of abandonment in your life. Or if you had a kidhood feeling of not being safe, you will likely have many matching experiences in your life of not feeling safe. And if you were hungry more days than you care to remember, you may still be trying to fill yourself up on some level so that you can finally feel the feeling of being full. This is a huge conversation for us to be having, and I hope I'm not leaving any of you in the dust here, or confusing you in some way, or disenchanting you in the value of doing this work. All I'm trying to show you here is that stuff gets tangled up simply because of how our subconscious mind stores feelings and memories. And if that is new information for you, please go back to the beginning of these podcasts, because I got into far more detail on these baseline principles there, all right? But here's a tool that you can use right now. to help you navigate your life going forward. Look for the recurring emotional theme in your life. This is another big concept to get, so let me break that down, okay? Let's say you keep getting fired from your job. You may think that the energy you are in is the energy of losing your job. But what is the emotion that losing your job creates? Does it create the emotion of panic? Like, how are you going to pay your bills? Does it elicit the emotion of low self-esteem because it makes you feel insecure about your ability to keep a job? Or does it elicit emotions of helplessness, that nothing good ever happens to you and that you have no control, or you always lose what you have? Now, when you look at the underlying emotion, do you recognize an emotion that feels very familiar when you think about your early years? This may take some journaling to uncover, and if you sit down with a piece of paper and a pen, quieten your mind, and ask your subconscious mind, what is the connection here? It will answer you. And writing is one of the quickest ways to see that answer. Just write whatever comes to mind. Don't analyze it or edit. Just write until you feel you're done. Something will come to light. All of those crappy emotions that we experienced in our kidhood that we are still hanging on to in our subconscious programming is moving us to act out over and over and over again behaviors that keep us in the old emotions. Here's the truth. You did not deserve those negative experiences. You deserved to be safe. You deserved to be loved. You deserved to belong. You deserved to have a full belly. You deserved to have connection. You deserved to have kindness. You deserved to have people in your life that had integrity and kept their promises. Every experience you had should have affirmed the fact that you deserved nothing but excellence. And I'd be willing to bet that less than 2% of the population actually had that kind of experience. Because the truth of it is, the world of humans has been raised by disconnected humans who were raised by disconnected humans who were raised by disconnected humans. And if you've been listening for a while, you know that I could go back generations and generations and generations with that line. So we can't change what created the programming, but we can change the program. Truth is, I deserve everything that I desire. You deserve everything you desire. But in order for those things to come, our job is to clear out the garbage, the faulty programming, the lies, the distortions, the power leaks, any type of messaging that keeps us in a loop of creating things in our life that recreate the emotions of our kidhood. I had the power leak of needing to be disappointed. I let that power leak go. But my subconscious mind, my ego mind, that is so interested in keeping me in familiar feelings, panicked at the idea that I got free of that old behavior and just let me slip into another power leak that I call undeserved ability. I developed an inability to deserve. Have you developed an inability to feel truly loved? To feel like you have an abundance of opportunities? To feel like you could live free of anxiety? To feel like your life has meaning and purpose? Have you developed an inability to feel safe, valuable, precious, unique, magical, powerful. Is there something that comes to mind when you look back at your life? Can you see or feel a theme? The work I am doing for myself is to keep affirming that I deserve everything that I desire. Not for any other reason than that I deserve it. It has nothing to do with my lineage. It has nothing to do with the country I was born into. It has nothing to do with the color of my hair or the color of my eyes or the size of my butt. My deserve ability and your deserve ability is only tied to the fact that you exist, and therefore you deserve what your heart is being called to. If you're having a shitty day today as you're listening to this, you may not believe a word I'm saying to you right now. When your life is not lining up and what it is you want, or you're not getting what it is you want for yourself, it's easy to think that the lack of something is really what you deserve. So you need to hold on to an idea like this until you can feel the truth of it. I'm not saying any of this to fill your head with like hype or exaggeration, embellishment or bullshit. I'm not trying to build you up or blow smoke. I'm not trying to psych you up or psych you out. Those are all the judgments I had on teachers who were trying to get this message through to me before I was ready to hear it. But it didn't make it any less true. We have been trained to think that life is random. We have been trained to think that aiming low and being thankful for good enough is good enough. That's the type of thinking we are awakening from. If we can get this concept in our lifetime and allow it to change our energy into a being that expects better things, we change the energy for every being that comes to the planet moving forward. And even if that big picture doesn't interest you, then keep it close to home. Change your experience for you, and all those around you will see what's possible. That in and of itself can be a grand experience indeed. What's the emotional theme to your life, sister? What's the emotional theme? Well, I hope that was meaningful to you. I love being here. I trust this has ignited a wonderful, healthy conversation in your own mind. Be kind to yourself. Be understanding. Be encouraging. And keep exploring. Until next time, stay weird, stay curious, and keep popping your corks or plugging your power leaks, whichever one sounds more fun to you. Ta for now. See you next time. Well, I hope this show rocked your world a little bit. If you want additional resources, check out the links in the show notes or at lanesmithbrown.com. And before you go, please subscribe to this podcast. It's how we get these tools into the world. And this world needs more wild women standing in their authentic power. Do that for me, will ya? Thank you.